name's Adam Fowles, and I've been involved in conservation for most of my life. I studied conservation, and slowly but surely over the last few years I've moved into breeding of rare game and specialised in that. And that involves the breeding of buffalo, roan, sable, black impala, golden wildebeest. So that seems to be where the market is moving to at the moment. The booming industry, and here at SSS Breeders we've been heavily involved in developing that project. I've known Paul Steyn for the last year, but Paul's actually been involved in wildlife and game breeding and hunting for quite a number of years. Predominantly this farm was utilised as a hunting farm. It used to be the old SCS Safaris, Steyn Caracal Safaris, of which Paul was one of the shareholders and founding members. And over the last year moved more towards game breeding, moving away from the hunting. And Paul's focused all his effort in that. So he's done great work so far. He's got great vision. We've got a great plan for this place, so I think he's really excited. I'm excited to be involved into assist him with the whole development of the place. And the whole package works here. They've got this beautiful lodge where we're in now. They bring guests to that. The guests get the opportunity to see the breeding project. And Paul's wife predominantly manages this, and she's done a great job with that. And we get the guests involved, a great experience for them as well. Just behind the lodge, we've got quite a substantial lion project going. We've got a number of lions from a variety of destinations or places in South Africa. We've been growing them out as breeding projects to sell them onto other lion breeding programs, also for export market. Yeah, and you can see the difference. There's some others that are in the enclosure that are quite wild, and that's the beauty of them. You can at least work with them now. So now they're beautiful. These are all little females, and we're probably going to sell them soon. We've got 7 big males that we're using for breeding and quite a number of the females. We've got quite a few cubs that have come online. So that's been going on very, very well. We've also get involved with research projects. There were some people from Germany as well as from the University of Pretoria.
That's what I'm saying. If you're going to adopt the line, put it in a crate and drive 2 swart riggers with it. So it all works fine.
I understand it, they're collecting semen with the emphasis of developing new techniques for the collection. Apparently the old techniques were very invasive and sometimes they could be detrimental, and maybe they didn't get the correct result. Also, there was independent project being done as well by the Victoria Zoological Gardens, and they're also developing or capturing data that they can extrapolate and use on wild populations of lions.
Get the shoulder much here.
They were measuring and getting the height and mass body index of the animals, so that if they have other animals, they can take the same measurements and work out basically if the animal is over or underweight of what it should, according to those figures, what the weight of the animal should be. But also what they're doing research on is protection of the Asian lion, breeding of those. And they're trying to develop new techniques of preserving the semen, and more specifically also, once they thawed, for utilization of artificial insemination. They've been finding the current techniques. They've been using a lot of the quality of the semen, or a lot of the semen has been dying off. So they're developing new strains, and they're using these captive breeding projects to collect data on that.
I do a visual together with a computer app program. So we double check each other as well. This is a CASA, it's called a Computer Assisted Semen Analyzer. So the biggest problem we have with research is standardizing our methodologies so that our results are accurate, repeatable and comparable. So for this we use technology as well to assist us. This is why we're using ultrasound. So we correlate visual images with what we see on our semen quality. So this is just a raw slide of raw semen, just to give me an idea of what the sample looks like. So what this computer system has got a 50 frames per second digital camera that feeds into a computer program. And then you can see these ones spinning around is abnormalities, tail abnormalities, these ones as well. So in this sample there's about 40 motile and about 20 of that is progressive.
Having lions becomes complex in terms of cleaning the enclosures. It's something we have to do on a regular basis, and having the animals running around is not always that easy. So what we do, we use these opportunities and we just rotate the animals.
Okay, ready? Just pull this. Okay, 1, 3. You guys want to go ahead or picky? Okay. This one.
Gives us an opportunity to clean the camps, ensure that the electrics inside the camps are working properly, and then also move the animals around. Some of the animals are getting bigger, some of them we want to move out, so we're not going to utilize for the breeding. we've moved the males further apart that seem to be interacting and fighting on a daily basis. So we obviously want to eliminate that, so we've moved them apart. And then we've also integrated and mixed some of the cubs together to make the transition from taking them away from the mother a lot easier. And that seems to work very well. Went around this morning and all seems to be going all right.
Enjoying this interaction.
A little bit anxious last night. I was worried some of the males would get back in the enclosures and possibly might fight and kill some of the youngsters, so all was well. Madiba is one of the old breeding bulls. He's a bull originally that Paul Steyn had purchased from Doe Steyn. And he's been on the farm for quite a number of years. We've utilized him, and he's getting to the stage in our project that he basically would be covering his own progeny. And we managed to find a buyer from a farm further up in the Northwest Province near Zeerust. And what we did is we actually traded the bull for one of his female animals. So it's actually worked very, very well. The capture's a costly exercise, and we have had him confined in that camp, and he would stay there. But we were hoping that we could go in there and dart him from the vehicle. And it's always as it goes. We find him every day, but the day we need to dart him, he was hiding in a thicket. And we tried to drive him out into an area. Obviously there's always a danger involved.
Come on, go to the mobile.
It's just crossed back. I'm thinking that maybe you might be able to get a shot at him now.
Towards the mobile on that side.
We realized this wasn't going to work. We'd rather get a helicopter. We have local helicopter gun pilots in the area. Nico Jacobs is a good friend of mine. He's also a locally based helicopter pilot. He's got vast experience. He's been flying for over 20 years. And we also utilize him a lot for our game work. He's very, very involved with this rhino conservation, and he's doing a lot of work with the Northwest Parks. He's got great experience. He's a very safe pilot, and utilizes the Robinson 44. It's a very powerful machine. He knows the farm well. We only need to call him. He's here within 5 minutes, and he gets the job done nice and safely. Gerardus Skeppers, he's the local vet. He has his own veterinary practice in Brits. So he's our closest vet, and what we like to do with the vet is build an association with a specific vet. It doesn't help every time we call a different guy who's not familiar with the farm, and that's quite nice. Gerardus has been doing the work here from day one, and he's very familiar with animals. I can phone Gerardus and say, that lion has got an issue, and he knows specifically what I'm talking about, or that buffalo herd, and that's the great thing. So we build a relationship, we work well together. I give him feedback continually, he gives me advice. And anytime there's a problem, we know he's on call and he can come out and he can assist us. So he's a great guy, and we work very, very well with him, and we look forward to a continuing relationship with him. Yeah, it actually went off very, very well. They darted him within 3 minutes, he was down, and it just really made the process a lot easier. We should have done it from the start. being physically such a big animal, it's not something that you can just pick up and carry and put in a vehicle. The idea was that we were going to slowly bring him around, give him partial antidote that he would be able to walk to the vehicle. But that also needed the assistance of a cattle prodder just to help him get up and on his way. Very often, we load them out of the bomas, so then it's a lot easier. We have adjustable ramps, and then we can get them in there. But where he wasn't really suitable. We didn't have a loading facility there, so we've got a vehicle, a TLB that we utilised, and we just made a swale mound which assisted him getting into the truck. He wouldn't be able to climb up by himself, being darted, so we just made it a lot easier, and obviously we don't want any injury to the bull.
Just explain that cattle prodder and the fact that you had to do bush repairs. That's
When we were ready to go, it was working fine, and then as Sod's law would have it, it didn't work.
I said, dit is 'n plastic pop.
So we had to try and make a plan and get it working. The vet got stuck in there in between everybody. They managed to make a plan, a Gura plan, got it working, and it did the job. Get him down to the vehicle. He collapsed just in front. It's obviously, it's also a lot of exertion for the bull. So we just made that he didn't get his legs stuck anywhere, and then he climbed in quite easy, and it seemed to work very well. Sometimes it goes extremely easy, sometimes it's a little bit more challenging, but that's all part of the game. It's a wild animal. It's not something that you can just easily maneuver without these antidotes and drugs. It's always a risk involved, so you've got to just be careful when you do it.
Careful, Adam. Very careful, Adam.
Movement has to be facilitated by the state. They have to undergo certain blood tests. There's diseases, scheduled diseases that they have to be clean of. He ensures that it's the correct animal that we're loading, that the animal that was tested and is clean. He loads it onto the vehicle, and then he also seals the truck, and he issues a veterinary Red Cross permit. That is given to the transporter of the animal. And on the other side, when the animal is offloaded, their colleague on the other side in the province has to be there to remove the seal, check all the permits are there, and make sure that it's the correct animal that's being offloaded. But it went off very, very well. He travelled very well, and I heard that he offloaded very well onto the farm. So we're happy about that. And then our female should be arriving this morning, so that's also going to be something exciting. And it also comes with all its own challenges. We'll have to get her integrated into the herd, but we'll work on that. So something exciting. Where we're going to be in 5 years, I think by then we'll be in a great position to sell with top genetics on all the species. We'd like to expand, and we've got plans to do that as well, and bring other species in like roan antelope.
See the difference between hand-raised animals and ones that have been left with their mother. These lions belong to Gerardus the vet, and they're also both hand-reared.
Paul's definitely putting in the time and the effort and the money. to make it a great success. I think the idea is obviously we would like to be one of the top breeders in the country, and with the best genetics and be seen by the industry as one of the top breeders. We certainly are in a developmental stage. We've got basically a 5-year plan before we start selling game, but we're well on track. I think it's going to be something you've got to watch out for us. We're going to be one of the top breeders for sure in the future.